Welcome to the Ladies Kickin Ass podcast, where we help you ignite your inner badass and create the service business of your dreams. I'm your host, Tanya Wilson, and together we'll dive into inspiring stories and expert coaching to set your journey on fire. Hey badasses, welcome back to Ladies Kickin Ass. Today is going to be something that I think our souls and our hearts and our minds all need. I know I do. It's really kind of that crunch time. Can you believe that we're almost like halfway through the year of 2024? I can't even believe it. It just seems like the kids started going to school and now here we are at the end of school and I'm like, shit, what are we going to do for the summer? So this is a great conversation, and I definitely wanted to introduce you all to Kelsey today. Kelsey is a holistic wellness coach, and she is going to drop all kinds of goodness on us today of why it's so important that we actually take care of ourselves. Why is it that we're not to be at the bottom of our to-do list anymore? Ladies, I'm talking to every single one of you because I know we all do this. And now we've got summer coming up too, and that makes it even harder to prioritize things because now we're all probably going to have a house full of kids at home all the time too. So this is a great opportunity for you to take some me time, sit back, relax, have a conversation with Kelsey and I, and let's talk about what it means to take care of yourself and make yourself a priority. And then Kelsey's going to talk about some methods in which you can do that, and also a program that she offers that can help guide you along the way. If you're kind of like, I don't even know where the hell to start, this is the girl that you want to talk to. So Kelsey, thank you so much for being here on the show with us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, not your business yet, but tell us who Kelsey is.
Well, thank you for having me. And that was a great explanation of kind of where this conversation will go. But I would love to start with just kind of how I got to where I am right now and doing what I'm doing. So rewind about 10 years, I was a young mom. I had kids at 25. And it all kind of happened really fast. So I had 3 girls in a matter of 4 years. And was done before 30. It just kind of was a whirlwind. And what happened was after my first 2 came, I developed pretty big amount of postpartum anxiety. It slowly manifested. I didn't really notice, and you just start to seclude yourself. Your world becomes really small. Everything feels very dreadful. And I just felt really lost. I didn't feel aligned with what I was doing. I didn't feel aligned with the people I was spending time with. And I didn't feel like I was enjoying my life or my kids. And it kind of all came to a head, and I got on some antidepressants, which saved me because it showed me how far down that hole I had gone. And that really sparked the path of healing for me. So that was before my 3rd, but between that 2nd and 3rd child. And I started seeking help with a counselor. I stayed on the medication for about 9 months and then was able to get off and was already down that path of healing enough to manage that, anxiety. So after that, I started to kind of crave more enlightenment in my own self. So I went on a retreat. I went on a week-long retreat to Aruba, and it was a trauma healing retreat. So it was a lot of intense work, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into doing it, but I think the universe kind of puts things in your path when you need them. So it sparked this whole journey for me. And I went back from that, and I signed up to do my first yoga teacher training. And this was 2020. That retreat was the December before, COVID, So it was right before I had to be just completely isolated and face everything for me. So I started to go back into what am I going to do? What do I want? What am I feeling pulled to do? And so I went down that path. Immediately after that, I joined for a yoga therapy program that was 2 years. And I just dove into healing. I was so drawn to healing others, and I started to finally get that drive and that joy back. Um, so from there, I kind of started to work a lot with physical. So I'd work with people who are having chronic pain, physical ailments, healing from things. And then in that work, I started to see this emotional connection to our pain, to kind of those recurring thoughts and behaviors. And uh, that was the route that I kind of felt this passion towards. And I started working at Barrow Neurological with the Parkinson's patients there. Um, and in that, I started to work in subconscious level healing a bit with the meditation, mindfulness, and that kind of brought in that aspect of my work. And in this whole time, that's where I kind of met Nicola and everything. But it kind of was just this big, long journey of like, I'm so anxious. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm lost. I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm in this motherhood role, but you just kind of, you got to hit that rock bottom of just, okay, I'm uncomfortable. What am I going to do about it? So that's where it's brought me here, and now I'm loving what I'm doing, and just I think I'll be a student forever, learning forever. But yeah, that's kind of my path.
Very cool. I think so many women can relate with being in this just level of anxiety. I know I've been there
Hmm.
before where you're like, I have to find something different. Like you just hit a point in your nervous system and it's a biological thing. Like your body will just start shutting down. It's like enough of this shit.
Yes.
Like you got to do something different. And it will happen when you're under tremendous amounts of stress, you're taking on too
Hmm.
much, you're just feeling overwhelmed, which some of those things can really lean to burnout. It can definitely lead towards that rabbit hole of anxiety, things like that.
Yep.
I really do relate with you and share in that, like, after you have babies, ladies, sometimes things just don't go back the way they're supposed to. And you can't put a finger
Yep.
on it, but it is definitely something that deserves attention. And just because there's not a physical manifestation of it doesn't mean that it's not real. So if that's something
Yeah.
that you're going through, we definitely want to call attention to that we understand and that you're not alone with that there are beautiful things to be able to help you work through these things. I would love to jump into, Kelsey, like talking about what mindfulness means to you. I know sometimes people, when they hear you say, oh, like breathing practices or mindfulness or getting still or, meditation. I know for me, I was super resistant to it for a long time because I'm like, there's too many voices in my head of you got to do this, you got to do this. Like you can't stop and put things down and just do something for yourself. What does mindfulness mean to you? And when people are kind of leery of that, how do you explain what it means to just like have a mindfulness practice?
This is a great question. So also, I get this so often where they're like, "Oh, well, yoga and meditation, all this is not going to just fix everything." And it's a big point. It does not just fix everything. It is a huge help. And I think what it'll do is it'll help people maintain after they've kind of tackled their big things. So if you've got like depression, anxiety, get help and use this as the tool that will continue to help you stay out of needing more help. So I always like to preface that I would never say this is the only thing you need when you're dealing with those serious issues. But mindfulness to me, it's so simple. It is just simply being in the present moment and living in that present moment. You're not worried about what's happening in 5 minutes. You're not worried about what just happened an hour ago. You're in your body fully experiencing whatever it is that you're doing. So this is, obviously unrealistic for every moment of every day. But what you can do to kind of develop that practice is to bring in moments of mindfulness every single day, whether it's 30 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever you can manage. But taking time where you sit down for lunch and you're like, I don't have anything to do for this next few minutes. Take that time to be like, I'm going to really be present. So you start to just notice your body, Notice your feet on the ground. Notice the experience of eating. Notice all the sensations that are in your body at that moment. What do you see around you? Like, just use your senses to become present. Simple. And again, you can let this linger for as long as you have, but do that throughout your day and just bringing yourself back into your body, because we're floating around. We're just like autopilot going about our day. Sometimes we don't even realize how we got where we're going. We just go. We're not even present. We're just like floating along. So taking that time, if you're on a walk or you're walking up to a building before a meeting, bring yourself into your body. Feel your feet walking. Look around. Notice the leaves. Whatever. It's so simple. So what this does, though, is it brings your brain into that state where you're going to get parasympathetic in those moments. Your nervous system will calm down, because what happens is if you're stressed about that meeting, you're not in that meeting right now. And when you allow your brain to live in this present moment, like, you're just walking. You don't have to worry about that meeting right now. So you're going to calm your nervous system. You're going to perform better in those meetings or whatever task you're going to do. So the more you practice bringing your brain into that place, the more you're going to naturally go to that place in moments where you can. So when you're in a meeting doing something stressful, it's okay that you're kind of in a heightened state, because that's just the way you're going to function. But in the moments you don't need to be there, your body and your brain will allow you to be in a more relaxed state naturally without the effort. It's just a practice, just like the more you do it, the more your brain will want to go to that place. And so then there's the calmer you're going to be overall. So you're going to experience things differently. You're going to react differently. You're going to gain more control over your emotions and triggers. Because you'll have that space to just kind of not be an autopilot, to realize, okay, this happened. What do I want to do with it? So to me, that's the mindfulness practice. But beyond that, of course, there's the meditation, which takes things to another level. So mindfulness is all day, every day. You just, whenever you get time, just bring it in. See how it feels.
I love that. Just jumping back into your body. Like, I love what you were talking about. Like, you sit down for lunch and you don't have something to do. Like, how many times do we sit down at lunch? We're like, oh shit, I can check emails while I'm trying to eat the sandwich at the same time. Then you get done eating. Like, I have literally done that before. And I'm like, what did I eat for lunch? Like, you have been physically present there. And it's like, what did I eat for lunch? Like, you don't even, like, realize the taste of the food, things like that. And it's just, like, I think just overall health altogether, if we would listen more to what's actually going on in our bodies, you don't have so many big red flags showing up, because they're small things that start showing up long before the huge red flags come up.
And the point you made is so great, where you're talking about you don't taste the food. So our phone, you're going to be like, I'm eating lunch. This is boring. I'm just going to go on my phone and scroll. So our brain is addicted to dopamine. We're going to want that dopamine hit, checking our email, checking our Instagram, whatever, just to get that dopamine. A more natural way to get dopamine is to enjoy food. But that's not as big, that's not as big of a dopamine hit. So we're going to be constantly searching for that, like, large dopamine hit. But the more that you can allow yourself to get a more natural dose by going in the sun and just like being present in the sun, that's also going to do that same thing. Enjoying your food, enjoying the sensation of the wind, like, these all do the same thing on a lesser level. So the more you can take yourself out of that extreme dopamine rush that you get from technology or emails or reels or whatever, you're going to be able to enjoy the simple things in life more. And that's going to just make life much more happy, and you're going to feel content.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. I want to bring up the term holistic with you, because I feel like people are a lot more open to holistic wellness now than has ever been before. Can you tell us a little bit what that word actually means and what the difference is between, going at it with a holistic approach versus, like, I just go to the doctor and get medication when something is wrong with me approach?
Yeah. That's a great one to bring up too, because it's kind of like a trendy word, or do people even really know what they're talking about? So, a holistic to me, I love that because it's kind of saying it's something you already have the ability to heal in yourself. So, when you're doing something holistically, you aren't needing to seek so much external for the healing. So, I believe honestly, most of us have all the tools we need to heal ourselves already. I simply
Mm,
want to help be a guide to help you get those tools to come out. So I'll give you an example. So say someone comes and they're like, I'm just so anxious. I want to feel more peace and I want to feel like I have more control of my life. To me, that person already has that in them. They just need to
yeah.
find it. We all have all of the feelings we want in us. You want to feel successful? You can feel successful today in what you're doing today. Like you don't need to get a new job, you don't need to get a new house to feel successful. You have the ability to feel that right now. You just have to learn to access it. So, working holistically, I'm giving people tools to pull out things they already have the ability to get from themselves
Mhm.
using food, using their own body movement, working exercise, whatever, going on walks, sleep. These things we already have the ability to access right now. You don't need to go anywhere different to access them. So holistic, in my view of it, of that word, is that I'm working with everything you already have, and I'm
Mhm.
just guiding you to find them within yourself because I don't want to have somebody need me for the rest of their life. I want them to learn the tools, find that within themselves, and realize like you already have that ability. But a lot of people don't believe that yet. So I try to kind of, I have people come to me all the time and I want to do that, but I just don't feel like I can because I've tried everything, you know, or I'm not going to be able to do it. I won't be able to finish it. It's
Yeah.
immediately you don't believe that you can. Well, you do. You can. Everyone can.
Yeah. What you believe you can do,
Hmm.
I truly live by like that. If you're telling yourself that you can't, then don't even start. 'Cause
Yeah.
you've already, forecasted what the result of that is gonna look like. There is something very true as well, having met Nicole and having met you, Kelsey, and I actually went to an event where they were speaking. There is something that sometimes you need to reevaluate your environment in where you're trying to be like, I want to be this peaceful, I want to bring peace and I want to have more peace in my life, but I'm like constantly in chaos shit show coordinator over here all the time. You can't live in that and expect to be peaceful. So where can you go and what outlets can you seek? I say this because like I'm at work and I'm like the fire putter outer, and then you go home and you're the mom and you put out the fires there and you're just constantly running around. You have to invest and seek out people that can help you get to where you want to go. Something that
Hmm.
in meeting these wonderful women is that there's like a level of like calmness and peace when talking to both of you, that like you just feel that in a room. And when you don't have those people naturally in your life and you're trying to achieve that, it's kind of like, cleaning up your house when you've got 3 3-year-olds running around. Like it's just not
Yeah.
going to happen. You can try your best efforts, but you're going to be constantly interrupted. You've got to seek out those things. And what I love with what you're doing, Kelsey, is that you offer those things to the community if you're local here in the Phoenix area, but you also have a program in which you will help guide people if they are interested in doing this. So it's something that I've already seeked out for you. So you definitely need to check out Kelsey's program. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the 12-week program is that you guys offer through your program, YHHJ?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, that was a great point because I think your environment and the people you surround yourself with, it's gonna create your world. So um this program, what it's gonna do is it's gonna kind of help you identify patterns, behaviors, or even just people you tend to be around or experiences you put yourself into and how those might be holding you back from what you're wanting. So if you come and you have a goal. even if it's, physically, I just don't feel comfortable in my body. Physically, I'm not liking my job, or, emotionally, I'm struggling. I can't get past these things, or I just keep reverting to the same old things that I keep doing and I don't like it. So, this is going to help you identify what those are. And maybe you've got some, past limiting beliefs that have been programmed into your subconscious that are holding you back from making those changes, because our ego and our subconscious is comfortable with the same thing. So that doesn't matter if that same thing is abuse or something really healthy.
Yeah.
It wants what's comfortable because something different feels like life or death. So your ego
Hmm.
and your subconscious is going to fight to keep you in that same pattern and behavior because it knows it. If you're going to go down this road and you're like, well, last time we went there, you did this and we survived. I'm going to just go that way. You don't want to go this way because, like, well, we don't know. It's like taking that new path is just really uncomfortable for our brains. So the course is going to help you identify what those comforts are that keep you from kind of expanding or growing. And then you're going to find tools through some of the meditations that I guide you on, journaling, questions, just reflection, and then one-on-one sessions with us. You can break those patterns down, and using awareness and tools. And honestly, it's a whole body approach. So you're bringing in movement, bringing in healthy sleep, healthier eating habits, maybe. Um, and the mindfulness is a big part of it too. Like I said, you need to be present to start to notice these things. You're not going to notice these
Hmm.
patterns and behaviors on autopilot. Um, so that's basically the program, is changing your patterns and behaviors to get you where you want to go. So it's very much personalized. Whatever your goals are is the goal of the program for you. And while it's, laid out, it's all very much tailored to what you need in your sessions. You're going to be getting specifics. You can use those sessions as whatever you want. If you just need to talk through something that came up that week in the coursework. And we had it to be 12 weeks on purpose because it takes about 9 weeks for those new neural pathways to form. When you get to that crossroads and you can either go down that same path or a new path, you've got to kind of slowly build that path up so that it's something your brain is comfortable doing. And that takes around 9 weeks. So giving it that extra 3 just for good measure. But yeah, that's what we do. And we dive into boundaries, communication, like towards the end. How does this look in our lives? Because a lot of times people want to make the changes, but then showing up in their relationships differently is where
Hmm.
it gets really hard and scary.
Ah. I loved what Nicole had kind of spoken about too, with how many times environmentally, still on that subject, like you've heard people that are like, oh, I lost 100 pounds. And then you see them like 2 years later and they've gained 150 back. And you're like, how did this
Mm-hmm.
happen? They went to something. You see this like on The Biggest Loser when that was on TV all the time. These people would lose all
Oh
this
my
weight while they were
gosh.
there and they were focused and they were doing stuff. And then they got home and they didn't change their environment. Their environment changed while they were on the
Mm-hmm.
show. It didn't change when they got home. And that is very, very difficult to adopt now a new lifestyle when the environment is the same. And we're not saying like, oh, you go through this approach and say you're having issues with your husband or something, you like go home and you're like, see ya, I'm out. But having open conversations with them and saying like, look, this is the path that I need to be on for myself, wellness wise, and just setting that expectation for the people that are in your environment. And if there are
Mm-hmm.
those people in your environment that you can, step back from if they're not providing something good for you, we have to be able to do those things. I know there's so many wonderful women in this community that they're like, but it's my family, but it's this, but it's that. It doesn't matter. It matters how they treat you. It doesn't matter how they got there. And so really making sure that you're doing that after you've invested in this program. I know you guys have a wonderful community of people too. Is there ongoing support that they have with this program once they sign up with you guys? Or
Mm-hmm.
how do you encourage them to continue living this new or healthier lifestyle?
Yeah. So my personal passion is a lot around relationships and communication. Communication is just, I'm a big talker, and I really value vulnerability and in-depth relationships. I think it's crucial for survival of relationships, in friendships and in intimate relationships, children
Mhm.
relationships, all of those. So personally, I like to work with people a lot on bringing that in as you do this work. And when you say changing the environment, this has kept coming up in my mind, but you're changing almost more the internal environment. So your external environment might stay very much the same, but the landscape inside the mind is what's changing. So your internal space is going to look and feel very different. And so as you project that out, you might lose people that weren't really there for you anyways, or the way you interact with people might change. And it's hard. Sometimes there's discomfort with that. It's not to say that making these changes is always just easy peasy and this is easy. I love it. I love it. Like, you're going to have difficulties, but there's always difficulties in things that are important. So
Sure.
that internal landscape does change, and that's how you show up to people. And so your relationships and your dynamics with work and with, spouses and children are going to change for the better by far. The mother I am now compared to the mother I was when I had my first is just, I mean, so different. I can't even explain it. It's maybe the most important part of all of this is just changing that for your kids and helping them to not have to make as many changes in the long run. And I think that the ongoing support we provide, which is like continuing to have sessions, and you obviously you want it to taper off eventually because you don't want to always have to rely on somebody. But it's almost like you can use it after you've done the program. You can come to us for one-on-one sessions, kind of a la carte. You can connect with us that way, or you can use, we always send out information, educational things, but we are available for one-on-one sessions. I do meditation sessions as support, just as a coach, more as like a life coach type support. If people are struggling particularly with like communication and how to navigate relationships post course work, I love to work with that because, like I said, that's a passion of mine. I think relationships are one of the most important things we have, and
Yeah,
it's crucial how you show up in those.
absolutely. I love what you just touched on in how you have become a different mother. Because something I believe tremendously is if you are someone that has been through a lot of trauma or you've been through traumatic experience at all, when you heal yourself, you heal your kids. Because when you don't heal yourself, you pass it on to your kids. And it may never come out verbally, but it will come out in
Mm,
actions and even avoidance. And
for
so
sure.
if you want to make, we talk a lot about on the podcast about making a ripple effect and what that looks like for people. Like, I'm super passionate about that because sometimes you have to make really tough decisions in order to do this. You've got to really buckle down hard, but the people that will benefit from you choosing to work on yourself and make space for yourself and time for yourself can never be quantified because it will continue through other generations that don't have to deal with that crap. So, this is a beautiful, beautiful thing that I've seen even manifest in my own family. So I always get super teary eyed about that. Everybody knows I just start crying on here all the time. But it's so true because when you really
Yeah.
do invest that time we were talking about before we hit record, quit putting yourself at the end of it. It's kind of like it's kind of like a weird metaphor, but it's so true. Like, if you ever want to be wealthy and be able to retire, you have to not wait for the scraps and the pennies that are left over after you go pay your bills and have fun. You have to make that
Yeah.
investment from the beginning and then build a lifestyle on what is left over. And if we
Hmm.
would really think about that with our own mental health, our own awareness of ourselves, working professionally and personally on ourselves, then we have time for everything else in our lives. all that everything else just becomes so much better than if we prioritize it backwards and we do all the shit first and then we give them the leftover crap energy that they don't deserve, especially in relationships,
Yeah.
especially with building your business and really authentically being able to show up as yourself, because your best self is not the end of your day. It's not the end of who you
Mhm.
are. It's at the beginning part when you've got all of that steam and gusto and oomph to want to do things. So important that you make sure that if you have never experienced a program like what Kelsey and Nicole put together, I would highly, highly encourage you to look into something like that. Make time for yourself to be able to do it. I know a lot of times we're like, oh, 12 weeks. We're not saying you got to dedicate 12 weeks of your life to this and that's all you're going to be doing. Even if you pick up one little thing every week that will help you to become whatever your goal is, a better person as a whole, a better mom, a better wife, a better partner, a better businesswoman. Like, there's so many things that change. When you work on you, everything around you gets better.
Absolutely. And you will, if anything, too, you're going to learn what you want, you're going to learn who you are, and you're going to really connect with all the different parts of yourself. When you're trying to be a mother, you've got to know you also have that like inner child in you that's competing with your own kids. You got to give them what they need so that you have to give what you can to your kids, you know? So I
Hmm.
think that's a big takeaway is that, you know, if there's something in you that's needing attention, support, listen to it, seek that out, you know, and I'm sure that you can link it, but we always take people into the course who are ready and we feel we do an application process. So I'm going to make sure that if you're going to spend the money and commit to this, that you're ready. And with a discovery call, like we vet the people and, you know, if you're going to do it, it's going to be the right fit.
Oh, I love that so much. Just I saw an Instagram post one day and I've saved it. I've seen it in a couple different variations of postings, but the question was, tell me who you are without mentioning that you're a mom, a wife or partner, and what you do for a living. And how many
Yeah.
people just kind of
Mm.
because we instantly wanna go to the things as women that we serve, that we make better, that we're working on, that are accomplishments, but really being able to sit with that, ever since I saw that, I'm like, that is just part of my journaling practice in the morning is to sit there and, like, who am I? Like, what do I want? Not what is best for this person or this person, what do I want? And really being able to journal and write that down or even speak it out loud really makes you again more aware of who you are and what you want and tailoring a life to that. How many times we look at our schedule and we're like, I have to go do this and I shouldn't have said yes.
Mhm.
Like the yeses cause the stresses, you know, and we
Yeah.
continue to keep doing that shit to ourselves. When you spend more time with yourself, you realize I don't want to do that. And I don't have to
Mhm.
feel bad for not saying yes to this because it's not serving the higher mission of who I'm trying to become. And it's not
Mhm.
attached to something that can be taken away from you, like a job or an external person. It's work that is done inside of yourself. So if you're wondering where to invest time and money, that's my number one thing to anybody right now is
Yeah.
invest it in yourself because everything else will just grow infinitely from there.
Absolutely. Such a good point.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for this. Of course, we will put the links to the 12-week course in the show notes. If you want to check out Nicole's podcast on this, where she talked about it too, it's number 112. They work hand in hand together. I was so excited to be able to get you guys on within a close amount of time so that we can definitely
Mhm.
let people know that this is a two-part, it's a dynamic duo of badass ladies that want to help
Yes.
you become more badass yourself. And that isn't just always about accomplishing the next thing or hitting the next dollar figure in your business. And I understand that we're all super motivated as crazy, but you have to be equally motivated or more so to make sure that you're spending that time with yourself. So I love this so much. Kelsey, at the end of the podcast, I always ask everybody because I love to hear what it means to each individual. It's always so different. But when you hear the phrase ladies kicking ass, what does that mean to you? in your life?
Hmm. I think that it means to me, ladies being exactly who they are without any guilt, shame, or, you know, feeling resistance. So when I see someone out there being very authentic, who they are, if it's weird, if it looks weird, if it looks different, like I'm just like, go you, be who you are.
Yeah.
What and if that's working as a CEO or if that's being a stay-at-home mom, if it's you, it's you, and that's to me, you're kicking ass if you're doing exactly what you want to be doing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Fill your cup with whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't need to be accepted by anybody except for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, what a beautiful, beautiful way to end this beautiful podcast. Thank you so much, Kelsey. And of course, we will link everything in the show notes. If somebody wants to follow you online, where's the best place for them to find you?
Instagram. I have it's the YHHJ Instagram is on there,
Okay.
and then I have my own personal one as well that's kind of linked to that too. But it's Kelcie Clinkenbeard, and we can link that as well. But Instagram, so be aware.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, ladies. And head into this summer season this year with a simple meditation, a simple time that you make for yourself. Get up 5 minutes before everybody else does in your house in the morning and just enjoy the silence and enjoy and think about what your day is going to bring to you and just bring some positivity and light into yourself. I promise you it will make a massive difference. So thank you again, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Thanks for being part of the Ladies Kickin Ass community. Cheers to all you badass women out there. Keep rocking your power, igniting your fire, and making waves in the service industry. If you loved today's episode, please do me a quick favor. Take a screenshot, post it, and tag us at Ladies Kickin Ass. Be sure to include the link to your favorite episode. Your support in spreading the word means the world to us as we aim to empower even more women. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more kick-ass episodes. And don't forget, a 5-star review is the ultimate high five. Connect with us on social media. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you for being part of our tribe. Now go kick some serious ass, lady.